Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. And I just need to disclose this. You will see podcasts with me mentioning that a couple of days a week I'm allowing myself the extra few carbs that cover the kale, the yogurt, the Teddy peanut butter, the organic berries, things like that. Well, once I've had kale. Once I've had the organic berries in a kale shake. So it's not like I'm having it all the times that I said I would. It's just kind of funny because every time, like today, I had celery with 2 tablespoons of nut butter planned to stuff it with. And I just changed it up to a taco salad. So, yeah. So don't believe everything I tell you. Trust but verify. Which means coming to my house at around 11 to see what I'm having for my first meal of the day. Well, I had an extra bonus shift at work. And what does that mean? That means more continuing education with my podcast that I love, love, love. And then Dr. Berg was live yesterday. So I got to watch that, which I love, love, love. And then I continued on with some Dr. Berg. And then on my walk this morning, I was able to listen to a Dr. Jason Fung, the obesity code doctor, for 30 minutes talk about insulin resistance. And I love how he talks to us like we're just equals with him. He's just got this like, what are you, stupid? I don't know. And sometimes he lets the fat bombs roll, but he didn't at this. This came from the Breckenridge conference that was held last winter, but it just was put up onto YouTube a couple days ago. But he was saying that if you've got a lot of the diseases, and it's funny because Dr. Berg on his whiteboard, he's got a whiteboard, and he was talking about high blood pressure, high sugar, overweight, cholesterol, all these things, and he said, you go to a mainstream doctor, and what do they give you? A pill for the blood sugar, a pill for the cholesterol, a pill for your heart, a pill to lose weight. And he said they just are treating the symptoms. They aren't treating the causes, which is we have dietary diseases. That's what we have. And so when Dr. Fung says, how do you treat a dietary disease? And it was such a duh moment, because he does a lot of duh moments. He goes, we treat it with dietary changes. What a concept. Which means less sugar, no sugar, and no carbs. And he spanked Weight Watchers because he said he was sometimes my eyes glaze over like a ham, glaze being sugar, of course, when he talks about the difference between fructose and glucose and sucrose and in your body and how your body handles it and where the difference is and what makes us fat, all that. So sometimes I get a little fuzzy wuzzy, especially if I've done an overnight. So he was saying that with all of these different toses, I guess we could do all the oses, right? Sucrose, fructose, and glucose. So we knocked that out. Oh, and he said Weight Watchers. He said, and what does Weight Watchers do? A number of years ago, they allow unlimited fruits, as if your body can handle it, and your body still can't handle it. You're still overloading it. It doesn't matter if it's you're having 6 little packages of organic berries. Your body can't handle all of that sugar. I'm always amazed when I watch a particular woman's Weight Watcher weekly weigh-ins, but it's not always weekly because she's not consistent, and her finds, they are carby and sometimes artificial and all this kind of stuff. And they still lose weight. I don't get it because I lost 17 when I was doing Weight Watchers. And then that 17 I kept off because I was still counting points, but I didn't lose any more until I got to keto, and then I lost about the equivalent, about 17 pounds, and now I've gained maybe 5 to 8 back with muscle mass. But as I consistently say here, it's not what the scale says, it's what your pants say. And so if you've got a favorite pair of jeans or pixie pants or khakis or black pants that you wear to the office, and the visible panty line is slowly shrinking because you are too, well then, the keto food plan is working for you, and the Keto Under 20. Although I've heard from a few older women that do quite well, thank you very much, on 35 carbs a day. And they discovered this through the trial and error and really investing time into what works for them. And for some people, there is fatigue associated with carbs under 20. And so in order to get rid of that fatigue, they up the good carbs, more veggies carbs, not the starchy, grainy, sugary ones. So, so some of the people that were writing, that were calling into Dr. Berg were asking all different kinds of questions, and he was offering up things about himself. And he says he walks a couple of times a day. I think he does HIIT, high intensity interval training, a couple of times a week as well. He's 52. And when he does his walks, he says the walks are really great just for getting into a keto lifestyle, because you're not killing yourself, but you're getting out there and you're just kind of opening up your body to the fact that you can move. And he was actually talking about kidney stones, and if you're doing brisk walking, you can juggle some of those things. So that it was quite fascinating. And yes, he does sell his own products, but and I use a couple of them, and that's fine. To me, that's fine. He's a doctor. He can. But so here I am with my dietary food diseases get healed with dietary food changes. And it's that simple. You don't go to a mainstream doctor and get the food pyramid put out by the U.S. government and go home and have 4 to 11 servings of carbs a day to heal your body. And like I said, my runner friend, who's almost 70 years old, was put on the Atkins diet by her doctor. And she's a tiny little thing, but she must be a TOFI. But she wouldn't know the term TOFI. And TOFI is thin on the outside and fat on the inside. So she must have visceral fat. But I know that she loves her things like bagels and pasta, and every now and then a blueberry muffin and things like that. And her doctor said, knock it off. But then she has things like salmon and spinach. So I am delighted with my food plan. I am really paying attention to my potassium intake. And I take a potassium citrate powder, which is the most god-awful tasting thing in the world. But I've been mixing it with my wheatgrass juice powder, squeezed lemon, and putting it in. And even though it's ghastly, it doesn't last a long time. I was putting a smidgen in my coffee, and my coffee tasted, semi-ghastly. So I gave that up, so now I'll have the regular taste. And I did get a stevia chocolate raspberry drops from Amazon a couple of days ago. And that is a nice change up in my coffee. And so Dr. Berg, if you watch it, if you watch his either the live podcast that was March 26th or I think it was Q&A on intermittent fasting, fascinating. And if you're curious about intermittent fasting, I think the Q&A one, it's like 9 minutes. Give yourself those 9 minutes to learn a little bit about what it does for your body. And he does a lot of the waves of things, like if you're eating 3 meals a day with 3 snacks and everything, those insulin spikes. And it's the insulin that makes us fat. So he also talked about what you can have while you're doing your intermittent fasting before you get to your first meal of the day. And he said perhaps your first goal is to just have 3 meals, no snacks. And your next goal would be 2 meals, no snacks, and going at least 16 hours. And he said ultimately the greatest gift is to go 20 hours with that window of 4 hours of eating. And so there was a lot of Q&A about what you could have, and it's all written down so your brain is seeing it as well as hearing it, which always helps me. And it was talking about the things that he has, and he says is okay to have while doing your fasting part before you get to your first meal. And he suggests you go 4 hours after you wake up before you have your first meal. So he has his wheatgrass juice powder. He has his, he does have a cup of coffee. He said the bulletproof coffee, just to maybe not have as much fat in it. It's not going to spike your insulin, but why have it, you know? And so I was mindful of that today, and I only had 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream and 1 tablespoon of the cultured pasture-raised butter. I did not have the 1 tablespoon and the 2 tablespoons that I usually have. Did I feel any different? No. Did I miss it? No. So anyway, it's just interesting. So if you want to know about what you can have in that period, the lemon water is okay. Protein powder, he says, is okay. He says, but don't make it whey or something else. But you have to watch it. I don't have protein powder, so I could zone out on that and then come back in with other items that he says. And he says you don't have to make a pig out of yourself with your 2 substantial meals in that window, whether it's 4 hours, 6 hours, or 8 hours. If you start with 8, wonderful goal. 2 meals a day with that 8-hour window. Like first meal at 9 if you get up at 5, or first meal at like 10 if you get up at 6, last meal at 6 at night, and then aim for 6-hour window, 4-hour window. Yesterday I had a 4-hour window. It was wonderful. Today I'm going to try to opt for the same. So anyway, just a little intermittent fasting, just a little bit insulin, just a little bit dietary food, heals dietary disease. Who knew? No sugar, no grains, unbelievably limited organic berries, at least in my food plan. And that's only because I'm on maintenance. And I'm only talking about, well, this week it was once. One time this week I had 2 strawberries, okay? So really limited. No grains, no sugar of any kind, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial soda pop, none of that. Keep it clean, keep it, you know, hopefully it came from something living, and that's the only reason that you would eat it. Chemicals, be careful. He talks about the supplements and vitamins. If you're having chemical supplements and vitamins, you might want to look at that differently. And it's just fascinating how you want to pull it back. But the simplest thing I can say, keto under 20 grams, not subtracting the fiber, and then meaning you can go to 30 grams of carbs because you're having 10 grams of fiber. No. The structure and the discipline, trust me, that you have today and maybe tomorrow and what you had yesterday is going to make your food plan a success. You're not going to be playing with it, dancing with it, you know, getting into your tracker and trying to make it all work so you can fit in something. No, it's not like that. Keto doesn't take a day off. And so keeping your carbs under 20, you will adjust. If it's tough for you to keep it, if you're hungry and still having cravings, that means you need a little bit more fat. Most doctors that I listen to recommend getting the dietary fat from foods, from whole foods, and not just like having a tablespoon of coconut oil. But if you have to, you have to. And that could make a difference in your cravings. Plus, as I said in a previous podcast, get out of the freaking kitchen. Because that's a trigger for a lot of us. And if you're home a lot like I am, yeah. Now, the other night at work, they got my favorite barroom pizza. It's what I lived on, especially when Greg and I bought this old antique house and we had to spend 6 months getting it ready to move in. And it's right across the street. Oh, yeah. Give me one of those slabs of that pizza. And they got pizza from that place. And it's like, oh, how I remembered the days, but it was fleeting. It was fleeting. I didn't want it. I wasn't tempted. I didn't have to go and smell the box. And I got through it. But, because we have triggering moments. I mean, mine happened in the middle of the night at the police department. It was funny. I was watching Fargo. And, no, not Fargo. I was watching Bloodline, which season 3 is now available. And if you've watched it, it's the most intense show on TV. So Kevin, the character, walks into his police department in the middle of the night. One guy's eating ice cream and one guy's eating layer cake. And I'm sitting there saying, yep, that's the midnight to 8 shift. Pile on those carbs. 40 years later, they got more stripes, or maybe even some bars on their epaulets from all of those overnight treats. No, thank you. So I am allergic to carbs and sugar, and I do my Keto Under 20, and it works for me, and it has totally changed my life, and I'm in mid-60s, and a lot of you out there are too, and it's just astounding how we can reverse things that were going on in our lives, more than the scale, more than our size, constipation and headaches and fatigue and cravings and our sleep patterns all get healed and helped with the Keto Under 20. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, with just another podcast in the day of the life. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.